Jerry Seinfeld is one of America's biggest comedians of the last couple decades. He's had his hand in the making of many movies and television shows over the years, and of them, Seinfeld is one of his greatest successes. Running for 9 whole years, just like firearms and exploitation of the working class, Seinfeld became a staple in United States culture at the time. Despite the show sharing only one man's name, much of the cast was able to find success in their respective career paths at some point or another. Legendary names like Larry David, Patrick Warburton, and Jerry Stiller have all been attached to the show over its run.
In the arms of the angel.
Seinfeld was a pool of success, but out of everyone who's ever worked on the show, there is one hipster doofus I'd like to look at in particular. But in order to tell this story right, I think we need to go all the way back to the beginning. Michael Anthony Richards was born in Culver City, California, and on July 24th, 1949, our star was born, baby. In 1968, he would make an appearance as a contestant on The Dating Game, but despite his stunning smile, was not chosen for a date. This would be his first television appearance, and maybe it was here where he developed his lust for the big screen. I couldn't find many clips of this episode, but from what I could, even all the way back then, you see many of those Kramer mannerisms in the way that he acts.
We'd like you to meet Michael Richards.
To make a monster out of you. And I'm going to take you into my dormitory and you all to my friendly spiders. Come this way.
He was later drafted into the United States Army during 1970, stationed in West Germany. Richards would be trained as a medic for 2 years. Even during his time in Germany, he showed interest in the art of performing, as he became a member of a theatrical group called the Training Roadshow. After being honorably discharged, he would make a good use of the GI Bill, an aid program for those in the military, to enroll himself in the California Institute of the Arts, where he'd go on to receive a BA degree in drama from the Evergreen State College in 1975. With credentials like these, it wouldn't be too long before he'd strike his first big gig. In 1979, he appeared in Billy Crystal's first cable TV special.
Hey, so this is Postscript. Sorry if the mic quality is really different, but I did a little more research about this special, and I couldn't find any promotional material, and I thought that was strange, and, well, it turns out this is literally lost media. This image right here is the only thing that can even prove that this happened, apparently. So yeah, I felt that was important to mention, so back to the video.
And just a year after that, in 1980, he began as one of the cast members on ABC's Fridays. During his time on Fridays, he would meet another cast member and writer of the show, Larry David, who, as time will tell, will have a large part in the story of Michael Richards' career. During this time, he also appeared on Miami Vice, St. Elsewhere, Cheers, and went on Jay Leno multiple times. He would also audition for the role of Al Bundy in 1986. That's right. In an alternate universe, we really would have had Kramer in the show Married with Children.
Love and marriage go together like a horse and Kramer.
Despite his bad luck with Al's, he would go on in 1989 to play a supporting role in Weird Al's movie UHF as a janitor named
Stanley Spadowski.
Things were going pretty good for Richards, and a few months later, during the same year in 1989, he would be contacted about an offer that was about to change his life forever. Remember that comedian I was talking about towards the beginning? What was his name? Joseph? Johnny? I don't know. Anyway, what's important is that Richards was offered this role as Cosmo Kramer in NBC television series Seinfeld. This was all due in part to his relationship with Larry David. David didn't quite see Richards for the part of Kramer, but as soon as Seinfeld set eyes on that man, oh, he knew. And boom, just like that, Michael Richards is Kramerin' all over the place. Despite a somewhat slow start, Seinfeld quickly catapulted to being one of the most popular and high-regarded sitcoms by the mid-90s. The show would have a lengthy run for 9 seasons going from 1989 to 1998, during which the cast would see lots of fame and success. Richards was no exception. Kramer was and still is a fan favorite, becoming well known for his jittery and spontaneous performance and personality. He has even won more Emmys than any other cast member of Seinfeld, taking home the award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series in 1993, 94, and 97, all for his role as Cosmo Kramer. Richards continued to make minor appearances in TV and media all throughout Seinfeld's run. He made cameos in So I Married an Axe Murderer, Coneheads, and Dinosaurs, to name a few. The character of Kramer even got so popular, speculation began that there may have been a Kramer-focused spin-off in the works after Seinfeld, but Richards said this was not true and showed no interest in making it happen. In 2000, 2 years after the end of Seinfeld, Richards began to work on a new series for NBC, his first major project since the Seinfeld finale, The Michael Richards Show. The Michael Richards Show was conceived as a comedy/mystery, starring Richards as a bumbling private investigator. We can only imagine what this show would have been like, but sounds interesting, that's for sure. NBC would go on to order the show be shaped into a more conventional-styled sitcom, after test audiences reacted poorly to pilot screenings. The series would be made, but only lasted 9 episodes before being canceled after weeks of poor ratings and reviews. Michael Richards would go on to invoke the Seinfeld curse and blame for the show's failure. The failure of The Michael Richards Show marked one of the largest blows in Richards' career, as after Seinfeld, work had been drying up faster than he anticipated, and it was all slipping through his fingers due to that damned Seinfeld curse. He began doing stand-up to make some extra cash until one fateful night. During a stand-up performance at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, California, on November 17th, 2006. A group of men in the audience had reportedly heckled Richards. Eventually, one of the men had shouted that their friend did not think he was funny. And this triggered something within Richards that will most likely haunt him for the rest of his life. Before I start going over this clip, I do want to warn you that the full uncensored video is a pretty rough watch. For this reason, I've decided to only cover parts of the video that I think are most important to tell this tale properly. If you are interested in the full uncensored clip, it's not that difficult to find on Google, but anyway, without further ado, this is the Kramer Incident.
Shut up! 50 years ago they had you upside down with a fucking fork up your ass! You can talk, you brain now, motherfucker! Close ass up!
After this, Richards would proceed to call the two audience members, Kelly Doss and Frank McBride, the N-word 5 whole times. After such a disrespectful and honestly embarrassing outburst, he doubles down to the audience to try and save himself.
All right, you see? It shocks you to see what's buried beneath your stupid motherfuckers!
Richards tries to make it sound like he was making some kind of social commentary. However, from his tone and literally everything else he says, it's so clear that this is just a tantrum of rage. There's simply no excusing this type of behavior. Richards will continue to babble and fight with the audience members until Kelly Doss decides to shout back at the comedian while leaving.
Wait a minute, where's he going? Crocodile? Call him in crocodile? Wait a minute, he's not going, is he?
You're just not funny. That's why you reset. Never had no show, never had no movie. Seinfeld, that's it.
Richards will admit, albeit mockingly, that he is a wash-up and has to stand on a stage, even though this is essentially true. He makes a few more racist remarks before shuffling around the stage a bit and floating away into the crowd, presumably leaving. Footage ends with who I assume is the host of the event coming up and grabbing the mic from the stage to try and salvage whatever just happened. This incident would actually remain unknown by the larger public for a whole 3 days until the cell phone footage found its way to TMZ. Once TMZ got their dirty little paws on the clip, it wasn't long before it was posted on their website. Michael Richards was quick to do damage control and was invited via satellite onto David Letterman with his friend and co-star Mr. Seinfeld. His apology is infamous as it was unscripted and you can tell.
We have him live via satellite from Los Angeles. All right, this should be Michael Richards. Michael, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hi, Michael. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm not doing too good.
Yeah.
Said some pretty nasty things to some Afro-Americans. A lot of trash talk, and
Stop laughing. It's not funny.
but you can't. You know, I know blacks could feel what he's. I'm not a racist. That's what's so insane about this.
Richards essentially claims that his solution to diffuse the heckling was to be more loud and outrageous than them, which, to keep it brief, didn't quite work in his favor. He would later call civil rights leader Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson to formally apologize. He even made an appearance as a guest on Jesse Jackson's radio show. Ironically enough, however, the individuals he didn't apologize to were the men in the crowd that he actually insulted. Kelly Doss stated that he did not accept Richards' apology, saying if he wanted to apologize, he could have contacted one of us out of the group, but he didn't. He apologized on camera just because the tape got out. This was the biggest flash in the pan since Pee-wee played with his ding-a-ling during movie time. I mean, it even got Paul Mooney to stop using the word altogether.
Michael, he cured me. He's my Dr. Phil.
The incident would go on to be satirized and parodied on several TV shows, including Mad TV, Family Guy, South Park, Extras, Monday Night Raw, and many more. Funny enough, one of the shows that poked fun at the event, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Richards would actually take part in.
Oh my God. Look, I made a mistake. It's been 3 years. Don't hurt me.
It's not too much of a shock considering his good relation with the main star of the show, Larry David. During the 7th season, they began an arc of episodes about getting the Seinfeld cast back together for the reboot. The 9th episode would depict Richards as himself basically going through a mini version of the incident where he'd have a public meltdown where onlookers would go on to record what he was saying.
If only there were a horrible name that I could call you that would make you as angry as I am.
Regarding his career, the amount of credits he's had since this event can be counted on my fingers, and I wouldn't even need to use both hands. So from this point forward, I don't really have anything to say about the stuff he's been in. I apologize to all 2 of the Faith, Hope, and Love fans who were really hoping that I talked about Daddy Hogwood. Later in 2012, he appeared on the comedy web series Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, hosted by Jerry Seinfeld, in which he would continue to reflect on the 2006 incident. He explains that the outburst still haunts him and is essentially the reason for his retirement from stand-up. Last July, he released a memoir titled Entrances and Exits, but hasn't made an appearance on screen since 2019. Despite maybe not going about it the best way, I mean, South Park put it best.
Dude, Jesse Jackson said it's okay. Jesse Jackson is not the emperor of black people.
I don't believe Michael Richards is a necessarily bad individual. I mean, he's condemned his actions and shown much regret afterwards. What I do think is that this dude was born in 1949. He's in his 70s. That doesn't make it okay, but I think it makes it a little more understandable when the fact he was around 10 or 11 when black and white people were first allowed to go to school together is put into the perspective. Whether he has been sincere in his regrets and apologies is up for interpretation, but I think we can all agree when I say that I hope he truly has taken the time and effort to learn and grow and become a better person after such a nasty outburst. Michael Richards has lived a very interesting and eventful life, and though his legacy will forever have this stain, I think it's also important to value the rest of this man's extensive career and not let that be taken away because of one awful decision. And I guess my main takeaway is we should all treat each other with a little more sensitivity and understanding. We don't always make the right decision, but I believe a genuine attempt to change for the better should be met with a genuine effort to let them. Of course, there's always a point where something may be unforgivable, and undoubtedly hold others accountable, but do it with compassion. Smell you later, sports fans. Take care.